So I'm Emily.
My name is Tiffany.
I'm Vanessa, but everyone on the team calls me Ness.
My name is Patrick.
My name is Jordan.
I'm V. My name is also Vanessa.
My name is Daisy.
I'm Michael.
And my name is Ainsley.
I've been cheerleading for about 7 years.
I've been cheering for, I think it's 4 years now.
I started cheerleading when I was 14.
I've been on the team for almost 3 years now, but I've been cheering for about 8.
I started cheerleading around the same age, like grade 8, grade 9.
I just started, I'd say just last year.
I've been in it for approximately a year and a half.
I've been coaching for 10 years.
And I've been coaching for around the same amount of time.
I started in my first year when I was 18 and I'm 23 now, so.
We cheered together when we were in high school.
Yeah, that's how we know each other. Yeah. I did gymnastics before cheerleading, and there wasn't really a team aspect, and I was a very anxious human.
My first year, I didn't know anyone at the school. I was really alone. I didn't have any sense of community or really any friends developed yet.
Someone came up to me and was like, hey, try this cheerleading out. And I was like, all right, cool. I guess I'll go to the tryout.
I did gymnastics when I was younger as well, and I quit.
My friend recommended me hey, come join cheer. It's like doing overhead press. And at the time I'm thinking, I have no upper body strength. So why would I want to join this?
And then I went to see this movie called Stick It. And I was like, okay, I need to get back into gymnastics. But I was feeling like I was a little bit too old. And I had a cousin who did cheerleading in the GTA area.
And I was walking down the path of Ring Road, and I saw people doing it in the field, and it kind of caught my attention, and I ended up trying it with them.
Okay, I'll come try this out.
So I went to the first tryout and it was fun. So I came back for the next tryout. And then I was like, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. And then they sent me an email and they said that they wanted me. So I was like, well, if they want me, then sure, I'll be here.
I went there for one practice, and I was totally hooked.
I really fell in love with the creative and performative side of it, but then also the intense athleticism that came with it.
I guess I was kind of intimidated at first, but when I saw how positive the environment was and how kind the coaches were and all the teammates were, that's when I really decided to join. And that's the reason why I wanted to stay even without any previous experience.
I just hopped on the bandwagon and joined, and it was great. It was great.
Enjoyed it a lot. It was really fun. And then here I am now.
Yeah, it just sucks you in. And then the team atmosphere from that, I think, keeps you.
For the first time at Waterloo, I actually felt really happy and I had a place where I belonged. And that feeling never left even 4 years later, even doing it 20 hours a week. You still get that feeling and look forward to it. So I joined on a whim and never left.
At practices, what we start with after we warm up and do our injury prevention is we start with kind of little pieces of different skills. We start with the easiest version that we know that they can safely do and safely hit. We kind of build up a little bit of success, and then we kind of up the ante, make it harder. Once they've done all those little pieces and we've gotten to kind of our peak point of difficulty and safety, that's kind of where the fun lies. Then they start linking those things together, and that's kind of how we build a routine with different skills and different people. And the more we put together and the faster we go, the higher we score. So the better they do at the competition. But it only matters if you can keep it up. That's why we start with what we can hit first.
A day in my life usually starts off with me waking up and going to class.
Usually practices are Tuesdays, Thursdays, and those are the most eventful days.
So we are volunteer coaches. So we have a regular 9-to-5 job that we work.
I'm on co-op, so I usually get up at 6. Then I pack my bag with all the things I need for work. I pack breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then snacks and my cheer clothes. I go to work. I work a full day.
We go home, have dinner, and then we commute about 45 minutes to an hour to get here.
Then I usually, after work, I'll eat dinner either in my car or on campus. I'll get changed out of my dress pants into my sweatpants and my cheer clothes. I'll go to practice and usually try and get in a little movement, move my body, walk, stretch.
This is a handstand up. It's a progression. So eventually you're going to be in a full handstand on the stud group. They're going to be here and you're doing a handstand. And then you flip flip it up from your hands to your feet. So what we just showed you obviously wasn't that yet. It's a harder progression where you over rotate to a cradle position to get the momentum in like a safer, controlled environment. That was your first time ever doing that? First time ever. First time progression. And it's great.
We coach for 3 hours and we drive home, and I am exhausted by the time I get home.
Get home about midnight, do a quick body shower, go to bed and wake up again at 6 a.m.
That's what happens a day of my life. Just go to class, wake up, and to practice.
You can't skip school to go to practice, and you can't skip practice to do school, so you have to balance those priorities. It's not about being motivated, it's about being disciplined and showing up to your commitments. It's not a sport that you can half-ass or just show up to practice. If you're not 100% on your game, it does not work. And people's lives are on the line. You always have to remember that.
It's a lot of explosive energy, especially after the end of a practice. Finding the urge to keep jumping, to keep like pushing through is difficult sometimes.
Since cheer is a really contact sport, it's very prone to get into an accident. Like personally for me, like this season alone, I've gotten like 2 concussions and I broke a bone in my foot.
I did have a big spill a couple months back in October. I had 3 girls fall on top of my head and my neck. I went to the hospital by an ambulance and had some seizures, and it was a big thing.
I have constantly just been in countless injuries. It always started off with like the shoulder to the next shoulder to like hips, quads.
And there are many setbacks because it does affect my schoolwork, as like it influences my like productivity.
And you need some time to be able to perform your best. Like you can't just, okay, the concussion's over, you're cleared, but now you need to catch up on your school and study for that exam.
And still go to practice.
And still go to practice and be a human and take care of yourself and have your other responsibilities. So that part of the sport doesn't get recognized maybe as much as some other concussion-prone sports. And your brain is really important, especially when you're using it so much in university. We're practicing over 20 hours a week. We practice at the same facilities as other varsity teams. We'll get there before their practice starts. We'll practice for 3 hours, they'll leave, and we'll still be practicing. And at the end of practice, we have to roll up those 50-pound mats and carry them up 3 flights of stairs. And all the doors are locked because the facility doesn't know that our practice is at that time. And it's double booked with other programs, and we don't have access to water, and we don't have access to athletic trainers or ice when we get injured. So it's like, on top of it being hard, you're also having to advocate for things that you should have access to as a student or as somebody using the facilities.
Yeah. This sport is very challenging physically and mentally.
You can get desensitized to what you're doing and how dangerous it is because we do it so frequently, and then sometimes you stop to consider and you go, no, it's like 10 p.m. on a Tuesday and we're throwing humans in the air 3 high, stacking humans, people who've never done this before, people it's their first time, and you really have to bring your A game to make sure people don't get hurt.
Because it's a performative sport, you kind of always have to show up no matter how you're feeling with a smile on your face, no matter how much pain you're in, if you're bleeding, crying.
You have to work through those mental blocks, because if you just say, okay, that was scary, I'm not going to do it again, like you're never going to do it again. You won't cheer again. Persevering, I think, is really important. Like when your brain tells you, I can't do it, it's hard, I can't do it, and then you do it and it's really good, like you do it again, you build up that resilience, and it's the best feeling in the world.
I guess you're always like in the public eye, because you're always like, once coaches say, once you put on that uniform for a game, then the people see you as a cheerleader.
You just have to be the happy cheerleader who's performing, and yeah, it's a lot, but it's also like cheer's an escape from like life stress, so it's a balance.
Especially for six, right? But
I think for me, when people are like, oh, cheerleading's not a sport, or, oh, you're just looking pretty on the sidelines, I take it with a grain of salt.
It's such a combination of like other things that are highly recognized as sports. Like closest thing that comes to mind for like the lifting part of it is Olympic lifting. Like
we do that with humans.
Yeah, we do that with humans, and like
Above our heads.
gymnastics and like all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff and dance, and it's all combined, and no one actually just thinks about how all those sports suddenly, when you combine them, they're not a sport
Yeah.
anymore.
Because it's currently like a female-dominated sport, by that nature, it's not taken as seriously as other sports.
You go back to traditional, it was in schools, it was just cheering on another sports team.
What used to be just sideline and waving around pom-poms and screaming at men, cheering on men, has now become its own very competitive sport. There are still elements of the original cheerleading in cheerleading today, but it has completely changed, and I think a lot of people just haven't caught up to that fact.
The program and the sport itself has evolved so much that we are our own, cheerleaders. We are not a typical university cheerleading team. We fight a lot of small battles that I don't think people realize.
It's very unique, and I think we all love that part of it, and it is really challenging. And I think like that, we go to Waterloo, we chose something that's difficult. It's not easy to be here, and the sport's like that too. Cheerleading isn't easy. It never has been. It's never going to be perfect. And again, it's not something you can just show up to and be present. Like you have to give your all every single time.
The discipline it takes and the dedication it takes to even get into this school, let alone to stay in this school and finish whatever degree or program you're working on, is remarkable. The fact that we have athletes that also work to pay their own tuition, who aren't supported by their parents, who also make the time to be an active contributing member of this team. I think that's a character development that every sport brings, but I think cheerleading is especially special in that, and I think that's what I would like people to take away.
When we see the kids taking those steps to becoming a better human or a stronger
leader. Even in their friend group,
Yes.
like at co-op, we get to hear all of those fun stories about, I got invited back at my co-op for XYZ reason.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
it's really
what
fun to
is
hear that.
Worth it, right?
Yeah.
And because it is a like performance sport, I never thought I'd be able to get on a stage and like perform in general, but it's something like I really enjoy and I found that I excel at.
I've developed a mindset where it's like, if it doesn't work, we can try again.
We find that because of the pressure of the academics in this school, there tends to be an overarching pressure in
All
our
aspects of
sport
life.
as well. And we just have to remind the athletes sometimes, like, it's just cheerleading. Like,
Yeah, no
There-
matter what happens, you're still gonna go home,
Yeah.
you're gonna have dinner with your family, life goes on.
Yes.
Like, you're here because
Yeah.
you wanna be here. It's,
and we want you
it's
to have fun.
seriously just cheerleading.
It's just cheerleading.
And almost anything in life is that.
We always say that we actually don't coach cheerleading. We coach life skills
Via cheerleading.
via cheerleading.
And I think that's why we keep coming back, is because the life skills that the sport teaches, I think personally, is what a little bit more of what the world needs to move in a better direction.
It's not about the sport.
No, far from it.
It's about the human and being a better human and being successful in what you love and what you want to do. And if we can foster that, then our work here is done.
Absolutely.
On our team, we always say this before we like compete.
Ready?
The universe is.
Really big,
You're small.
This competition is.
even tinier.
And you know what?
Breathe, smile, and remember.
We hot as fuck!